Hi everybody, this is Ernie, and this is my view. Tonight I want to talk to you a little bit about liberalism, along with a couple of definitions and one or two examples. Anyway, the definition of liberalism, the original political philosophy was a actually a worldview founded on the ideas of liberty and equality. Imagine that. Liberals, in the definition of liberal supported ideas, the original definition of liberalism, they supported ideas such as freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion. They believed in free markets. They believed in civil rights, the democratic societies, which is now socialism. They believed in secular governments and international cooperation, unless, of course, you were Jewish or living in Israel. It became a political movement during the age, what they call the Age of Enlightenment, in the middle of the 17th century, I believe. It's been hijacked by today's liberals and today's progressives, and has now become a very, very radical form of socialism. Just look at Barack Hussein Obama, look at Hillary Clinton, the people that they believed in, like Saul Alinsky, Karl Marx, and all the people that they hung around with. You've got the history, you know who they are. So you know that they've hijacked this original idea of what they called liberalism in those days. During the 20th century, liberal ideas spread as liberal democracies and found themselves winners in 2 world wars, which for them was very great. In Europe and North America, the establishment of social liberalism became a key component in the expansion of the welfare state. The welfare state. So here we are today in 2016, right in the middle of one of the biggest welfare states we've ever had. In the late 17th century, I believe, a man named Thomas Hill from Britain, he was an influential philosopher. He established the first major foundations for what later became known as positive liberty. And hardly any time at all, his ideas became the official policy of the Liberal Party, and that was all in Britain, and started the rise of social liberalism, which is what we have today in the modern welfare state. Modern liberalism kind of came into presence really in earnest, pardon the pun, with FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, with the New Deal, and in those days they were really kind of center-left, and since then they've just fallen farther and farther and farther and farther to the left, like Bill Clinton and people of that ilk, and his wife, what's her name, Hillary? Anyway, they're now very far left and very, very radical. So there's just a quick sketch of liberalism and give you an idea of the general terms in liberalism. I will get into separate ideals of liberalism and some of the actors and actresses who have become famous for their liberal activism. Anyway, I want to get back to some of our little fun things that we usually have on every week. Here's a famous quote by Thomas Jefferson, pretty good guy. When governments fear people, there is liberty. And when people fear the governments, there is tyranny. That's by Thomas Jefferson. A gentleman I worked with a while back asked me about the Second Amendment. He couldn't understand it. So I'm going to read you the Second Amendment. It's very easy to find. You can Google it. You can put it on your phone. Anyway, the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States states as follows. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Pretty simple, folks. There's not much there, to kick around. Of course, the liberals find a lot more in there than what is there. And George Washington took it a little step further when he made one of his comments, and he said, a free people ought not only be armed and disciplined, but they should have sufficient arms and ammunition to maintain a status of independence from any who might attempt to abuse them, which would also include their own government. That's from George Washington. I think you all knew who George Washington was. Okay, let's get into some of the fun stuff. Here's a good question for you. Why is it that every country that welcomes in Muslims with open arms is paid back with destruction and a body count? Who figures? Here's a really good one for you. You might want to write this one down and tell it to your friends. In the 1930s, One particular political group sent thugs to disrupt rival political rivalries. Do you know who they were? They were the Nazis. Now, I'm not comparing the liberals to Nazis. I'm just saying sometimes the tactics are very, very similar. You can't argue with the liberal. As soon as you tell them a point of truth, they argue with you, they call you names, or they just plain quit listening to you, and they walk away screaming and yelling, okay, to find a safe place. That's your modern liberal. Kind of scary, huh? Here's a good question for you. If Muslims are so peaceful, why are so many people afraid to offend them? And contrarily, if Christians are so dangerous, why is no one afraid to offend them? That's one of the big groups in the world right now that you can offend anytime you want. That would be Christians. Here's a good question for you. President Obama, please stop using the phrase, "that's not who we are," to shove your will down the throats of the Americans and the world in general, too. And it goes further on to say, you spent your childhood in Indonesia, where you ate dogs and attended Muslim schools while your communist mother, stepfather, and grandparents indoctrinated you to hate Western democracy, which he still does. Your entire worldview is that of a Muslim, not an American. You, sir, are not who we are. And I got to say, I got to agree with that. Here's a lot of information about the Obama legacy. It's one of tyranny. He has had a war on vets, a war on freedom, a war on health care, a war on the unborn, a war on patriots, a war on the economy, a war on coal, a war on oil, a war on family, a war on blacks, a war on guns, and a war on all of our rights, and a war on the Constitution, a war on America, and a war on the American people. So that's kind of my little short show for tonight. But I do want to tell you in closing, please keep our first responders in your prayers and in your thoughts. They are the people who are there when we need them most. Our firemen, our policemen, our paramedics, the nurses and the doctors in emergency rooms, the cop on the beat, the cop in the patrol car. Those people are all there for us. That's why they go into this business, or these businesses, to be there when we need them. They are the people who keep us separated from anarchy and from the really, really radical liberal ideas that this country seems to be spawning something new day after day after day. So remember those people in your prayers. And in closing, I've told you many times, and I'll probably tell you again, go out and buy yourself a flag. Put it on your porch, on your car, put it on your window. Buy a flagpole. Put the thing up in your front yard. Let Old Glory wave. Let people know who you are, and that you are an American, and that you will stand by the principles of our society and the principles of America. Because let me tell you, Barack Obama was wrong. We are an exceptional people. Thank you for watching me, and I appreciate it. Tell your friends to watch these videos. Pass them on. And in closing, God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.